Well, I hope everybody heard that poem, and maybe we can tweet it on Twitter, and you can have a listen to it and read it again. So let's talk martial arts.
Yeah, well, this is just a point I wanted to bring up because I'd spoken to somebody earlier this week about martial arts, and they automatically assumed, because I'm very anti-war and violence, that I would be anti-martial arts, and absolutely not. To the contrary, I've actually, one of the sessions I've done, I taught at a martial arts gym, Northwest Warriors, there in Bolton, and they're getting children in, young men in, young women in as well. And in order to go to this gym, you're going to get fit, you're going to have to learn discipline, you're going to have to be structured, you're going to have to start to eat properly because you need to have energy to do the classes. You also, get camaraderie and friendship through these classes to gain confidence. And in a perfect world, perhaps we wouldn't be training in martial arts. Maybe we'd be doing something different. But as it stands at the minute, you've got young men. I was one of them, and I was fighting on the streets every week. I wouldn't like to think, but I've hurt a lot of people, And you've also got young men that can go and sign up and join the army, who most young men, it's the exception to the rule when a young man expresses himself. Most young men don't express themselves. Don't be so soft, son. Pull your socks up.
Oh, stop it! It's only girls cry.
Yeah, all that nonsense. Yeah. Most men don't express themselves, and to get young men off the streets so they're not being violent, perhaps not using recreational drugs and drinking, and not seeing violence as an acceptable outlet or expression for the way you're feeling, because a lot of them are angry because they've been trapped in this emotion for a long time. Getting them into a gym is fantastic, and yes, it involves, if you get to that level, like I did, my brother did. My brother was British champion at Thai boxing, and we both had a couple of cage fights and things like this. If you get to that standard, of course there's violence in the competition, but it takes a long time to build up and arrive at that point. And then when you do, you'll find, as we did, if you're angry in that situation, you will not do very well, because
the red mist comes down.
Yeah, once your emotions take over. So this is where the training comes in. You learn to express your emotions and manage them for young men. If you get angry, you'll lose, because there's two people who've trained the skills, they've got discipline, they've learned techniques. If one of them gets angry, there's no logical thought process. You're just reacting, and it's just pure rage, and the other guy will win. I've seen it many times. What we used to have to do in training is, when we were in, they have what they call the rear naked choke, which is a move they use in MMA and mixed martial arts. We used to train, and what we used to do is choke each other out. So we're deliberately, there's no messing about. We're going to train, and you're going to pass out, right?
Okay, we're not going to try it. I was going to say, do you want to try it in here? But no, we're not.
No. But we train and we choke each other out, and what we had to do, the whole thing was to learn to accept staying calm. So even though normally panic sets in, you can't breathe, and you know, things start going dark and whatever, staying calm under that, because when you stay calm, there are things you can do.
You've got a thought process.
Yeah, you've got a thought process, there's actions, and there are counter moves to alleviate this or delay it. If you panic, it's over. Right? So it's learning to stay calm under pressure, which is a life lesson. It's not just about martial arts.
Well, it is, because just think about everybody.
Events,
just think about people in an office that have got deadlines and they're under pressure to get this done.
Yeah.
You know,
it creates a very unpleasant environment when you're operating under stress, and you need to try and remove that stress from your life. There are different ways of doing it. One is, if you're asked to do 10 things in the time it takes to do 8, then if you can, say, I'm sorry, I can't do that, that's too much. Imagine the world of difference between trying to do 9 things in the time to do 8. You will not enjoy any. You will rush them. You may have an accident. Your day will be stressful. Trying to do 7 things in the time it takes to do 8, you have time to have a cup of tea, shake hands, have a quick chat.
Enjoy
it is
the tasks.
Pleasant. Yes. And you'll find that you'll enjoy each and every one. Just try and do a bit too much, and you won't enjoy any. So it's removing that stress, and if you are under stress, staying calm, because if you have a stressed mind when you're making a decision, you won't make good decisions. They'll be rushed, they'll be influenced by other things. When you've got a clear and calm mind and you have clarity and focus, you can make good decisions. And you can learn these through martial arts. So in answer to the question I was asked earlier this week, I'm not anti-martial arts in any way. In fact, I'm pro-martial arts. I think it's a very healthy system to manage a problem we have at the minute. And I think martial arts, young men who enter into martial arts, changes their life. If they didn't have that vent, that expression, they could end up in trouble with the police, they could become violent, or who knows what. So martial arts are fantastic.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, trouble with the police. You've got a police record. It's on your record for the rest of your life. You know, and there's no getting away from that. No. So if we can help people not get to that point, for people that, you know, let's talk about people sort of every day, you know, in the working environment who are up to their eyeballs. They're probably financially stressed, you know, they've got the family stresses, they're under pressure to get deadlines done. You know, what sort of things can people do behind a desk? You know, practical, let me do, you know, John has 10 minutes, what can he do?
Well, I'm hoping, as you know, I came in earlier to...
I don't know who John is, by the way. It just came into my head.
But I'm hoping we might be in a position at some point in the not-too-distant future. I've just been meeting with the station manager, Jill, where, you know, this might be something we can do over the air at some point.
Fantastic.
But as far as I'm aware, nobody has ever done meditation over the air.
No.
Right? And it'd be very nice to do a show, and at the end, if the timing's right, which could be 10, 11 o'clock at night, where we finish off with the meditation, getting people into that routine where it's effortless. It's on the radio, you just got to turn it on.
Oh my God, yes, and lie down.
And listen to my beautiful voice. That's all you got to do.
And you know what? I'm just sitting here with Patrick, and his energy is so calming, because I can be quite a high energy, like crazy energy person. I mean, I've had people say, Kirsty, I need to stand away from you because your energy is too much. You know, so that's something that I'm working to work with my energy, because I know it's a gift.
It's a wonderful thing,
but
it's directing it. You've got that much energy. I imagine that you know, it'll come out in all directions. It's channeling it, isn't it?
Exactly.
You are definitely a live wire.
I've been told that so many times. So, you know, so I came in here all like, right, okay, and Patrick said, so Kirsty, tell me. And I was like, oh, tell me what? And just as you were talking to me, I just felt I just felt my energy not drop. That's the wrong word. Just calm. I think just calm down a bit.
All any of us ever want in life is peace, and I say this even if we don't know it yet.
Peace of mind.
Yes.
Yes.
When you remove drama from your life, and people say, "But this is happening and that's happening, that happened," depending on how you respond to that situation you can dissipate it, or you can make it move away. Because if there's negative things and situations around you and you don't focus on them and give them your attention and you do not feed them, they will go for the negative energy food somewhere else. If you do not feed something, whatever you focus on, you will feed it and move towards. Doesn't matter what it is. If you focus on something, you are feeding it. So going back to your question about what we can practically do in an office, well, first of all, I constantly remind myself of something, right? It's just a dream, right? Now, this might seem a bit fantastic and skittish and silly, but think about it. If we go to sleep every night and we wake up in the morning and we think, yeah, that's fine, we're going to sleep, and then it's real. Well, in the Buddhist, you know, we talk about things like this where it's an 8-year dream. Right? It's the same process, because there's lots of different levels of consciousness and awareness, where in reality we're born and then we transcend, pass on, and it's an 8-year dream, and there's a long explanation for it, but I won't go into it now. But if you remind yourself constantly, whatever's happening around you, just focus, breathe, bring your attention inwards, and just remind yourself, it's just a dream, okay? Because sometimes we become very serious and we attach a lot of significance to details and things. When you really stand back and look, in 10 years, does it matter?
Will this really matter?
It does not. The other thing is to learn to stay calm, and this can be done with mindfulness, for example. It's one technique where when you have an emotion or a feeling, focus on the breath, and what you do is you try and not react, you act. So you create a little pause, you distance yourself from your thoughts, and once you observe your thought, the second I observe you, Kirsty, I know that you're over there and I'm over here, so you're not me. So if I have an angry thought, just by the act of observation, you create separation. So you have a feeling, pause for a moment and become aware of that feeling. You think, oh, I'm not angry, it's an angry thought. Yeah, it's an angry
You're the
emotion.
observer of the anger.
And then what we do is we train the mind to not interact with it and just watch it float past. Usually we visualise in the form of a white cloud, something like this. So we train the mind to become aware of something before we act. We create this, it can be a very small, just a small amount of time, but we create this pause. The other thing to do is, if you're in an office environment, is you'd be surprised, most people think you have to act, right? So something negative happens, you have to act. Something positive happens, you have to act. Non-action, in some circumstances, if somebody keeps pushing a chair, and they keep pushing the chair and it doesn't move, they will stop pushing the chair.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're wasting their energy.
Yeah.
Right? They're getting no reaction. So quite often, if you've got something that's persistent, that's negative, that's constantly there in your life, maybe it's somebody you sit next to at work, somebody that you struggle with, if you don't react, if you set the bar, if you do not let them press the buttons, if you start to gain some degree of inner mastery where you don't allow somebody else to have the power to control your inner emotional world and state, by doing this, they will stop pushing the chair, they will stop pressing that button. By non-reaction, eventually they'll think, well, there's no point in winding him up because he doesn't bite anymore, it's not funny, or whatever they're doing. So sometimes just by staying still.
Yes, and stillness, again, this week, that's something I've really learned, just to be still and be with yourself, which sounds a bit like what you're just sitting with you. But you are just being still, and what I realised is that is actually action.
Of course, yes.
Which was a massive realisation for me today, because this week, because it was like, but I'm not making calls, I'm not doing my social media, I'm not doing my marketing. But Kirsty, just sitting still with yourself is actually action.
If you imagine the external world is constantly moving, everything's moving, and if you imagine, like in the eye of a storm, if you can meditate and you can become what they call Deepak Chopra call it going into the gap, or becoming still, become aware, and you become fully present. At that point, lots of things, while you're staying still, the external world will keep moving. And by spending time with yourself and becoming aware of how you feel, and non-action, not doing very much sometimes, if you had 10 problems, you can stay still, and by the time you're ready to re-engage with the world, half those problems will have already changed.
Yeah.
Because the external world's constantly moving. It's the material world. Atoms are vibrating, molecules are vibrating. It's constantly moving. If you can learn with the tools, through meditation is one way, to become still, you can solve most of your problems.
Yeah.
You actually can solve most of your problems.
Absolutely.
And your perspective changes. So if you've got a bill, you can either pay it or you can't pay it. No amount of stress will change that. No amount of stress will help. It'll affect your health. And it'll also mean that you probably won't make a good decision. You can either pay it or you can't pay it. So acceptance, just accept what is. And I know not paying bills isn't a good situation to be in, but not paying bills and being highly stressed is far worse.
Because you're just creating more situations to create stress.
I say with frustration, I've seen somebody, I don't know if I mentioned on the last show, I've seen somebody in Asda and they banged the toe, and they say, oh yeah, and they're like effing and jeffing at themselves, and they end up, I watched and they're having a full-blown argument with themselves in public. Yeah. And what they've done is they've created, in the act of frustration, no matter what a problem is, whether you have the solution or you don't, when you become frustrated, you've created a secondary problem. That problem usually far outweighs the initial problem. It's a mental problem.
Yeah, because it's almost like that snowball. That's that problem's ended up like a small snowball. And because you've ruminated on it and you've given it energy, it starts to get bigger, and you've now got a big snowball now, huge snowman.
We'll all do it in small degrees. It's learning how to catch yourself when you're doing it early on.
Yes.
Not let it build up, because you can be surprised. A very small problem, 3 or 4 days, it can be a car crash, it can be a relationship breakup, it can be lots of other things, starting with a small problem because of the state of mind and how you're manifesting it and how you'll think of all the connotations and all the things that go wrong. And I say that as children, you want to do something, you just go and do it. You don't make a list. As adults, doubt and fear, anxiety, all these things creep in. And as an adult, you'll make a list of 100 things that could go wrong. And in the worst case scenario, only one of them can come true. So you've definitely wasted your energy on 99 of them.
100.
And that's if it goes wrong.
And it probably actually won't.
No,
it
might do, because you focus.
Yeah, well, that's
if you start thinking, walking around in the universe trusting that everything's going to be okay. You'd be surprised when you don't define how and what the universe can deliver to you, and you just go around being in bliss and emit that frequency, giving it out to everybody you meet. You'll get it back from every direction. So to change the external world, you start with inside, not outside. Most people spend their lives wrestling with the external world, and you'll die doing that. You'll never fix it. But if you start with yourself and you get this right, just this one job, my only job is to get this right, to be in a state of bliss, and then I will give that to everybody I meet. I will then make them increase the level of joy and put them in a state of bliss. And if everybody did that, the world would be a very happy place in a very short space of time.
It so would, and we'd be getting rid of blame, justifying, complaining.
Blame is the most ridiculous concept. It's basically saying that somebody else is responsible for your circumstances. This is not so. Some people want to go through the life. It's a lot easier to blame somebody else. But
they don't want to take responsibility.
But it also means you can do nothing about it. Once you accept that nobody else is to blame and you're responsible,
you've got the power.
Bingo. Not only have you got the... you've accepted that you're responsible for all your external world, but then the flip side of that is, so I created all of that.
I created it, so I can change it.
I'm going to create this now, and you can take it in a whole different direction. Once you become aware that you're a manifester. We're all manifestors, but some people do it subconsciously, some people do it consciously. It's learning how to make the transition, as from night to day, where you go from being subconscious and reacting to being conscious acting. Conscious decisions. And
this is something we teach. Oh my goodness, look at the time. My goodness. This is something myself and my husband tell the kids all the time. It's like, you made me sad. You made me happy. And we always turn around and say, we didn't make you sad. We didn't make you happy. You made yourself sad, or you made yourself happy. No one's in charge of your feelings apart from you.
Exactly.
And really just instilling that into the children.
It's learning that, isn't it? It's a hard lesson to learn.
It's so is.
Once you grasp it, once you become aware of that, the world's your lobster.
I love it. World's your lobster. So, right, oh my goodness, right, this time has absolutely flown by. I said that we needed a 2-hour show. But,
Kirsty?
Yeah.
What's your surname?
Kirsty Kerins.
That was a close call by Kirsty Kerins.
I love that radio voice.
that was close.
So, we've not even covered half the stuff that we wanted to cover. So, I'm going to lead Patrick to it. He's going to whistle stop through what else he wanted to share with us, because it's really important, and we'll hopefully just get another song on before the news. So, over to you, Patrick.
Thank you. A couple of things I wanted to cover while I was here. Like you say, I'm not going to get through everything I was going to cover, but I'd like to give Wise Up a mention. Wise Up are a foundation, a organisation that are based in Bolton, and they go around to schools and football clubs and basically engage kids, and they're looking for early signs of addiction, depression, and children that've got other problems. They recognise them early on, so they go around giving talks and educating the children. I'm very heavily involved with them, as are they with me. We do things together, and I think it's something that has been overlooked for a long time, which I say in my book, is that there's no happy class in school. The most important thing isn't even on the curriculum. It's good mental health and happy class, So I wanted to give Wise Up a mention. I also, at the weekend, I did my a retreat with Earth's Bounty Cafe, which used to be called Health Indulgence Cafe in Bolton. There's about 15 to 20 of us, a mixed group of people in Penrith, and we did a gong bath on the Sunday night.
Fabulous.
And that was done by Tara and Ken. Tara plays the harp, Ken plays the flute, and then they have various instruments. If you've never been to a gong bath or a sound bath, you should try it. The body, most people's body has tension trapped in it, energy's trapped in it, and in hitting a gong, for example, rather than just hearing a sound, it resonates. It's a powerful frequency, and it will resonate with different parts of your body with different gongs. And most people, when they have the first gong bath or sound bath, it can be quite an emotional experience, because the tension that's trapped in your body, these energies that you've been keeping there for a long time, the gongs can release them, and people come out and they feel elated afterwards. It's a beautiful experience. If you get the chance to, you should do it. On the Sunday night we did it, and just after we finished the sound bath, everybody in the room stood up, all out, and it took our breath away. The animals that had been hiding in the forest and the woods the whole weekend, while we had 1 hour, of just pulsating, giving out a frequency of peace and love from that room. We came outside, all the deers came and lined up against the fence. There was a stag, 3 doors, birds lined up on the fence. It was
beautiful.
It looked like something out of a movie, because if you weren't there, it doesn't seem like it could be real. But it happened. It was
wow.
real.
Did you get a picture?
I've got pictures of the deer.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the gong bath wise up, and then I wanted to say I also did a talk on Tuesday, which was for a group of foster carers with Mr. Gary Wall. That was very positive. Very excited to be invited. I've been invited to be a guest speaker on a few occasions now with the NHS and other associations, and it's something hopefully again we're going to do more of. But it was really good, because a lot of people focus on the children, which is massively important. But if the people looking after them are highly stressed,
it just reflects onto them, doesn't it?
Stressed mums and dads, it's no good.
Yeah.
And the final thing really I wanted to do is to say thank you to Kelly Walsh, who isn't here, because
Diamond.
Yeah, Kelly's just seen Kelly earlier. We've talked a couple of times this week, and Kelly appeared out of nowhere. She is also an earth angel. She appeared, and she gave me some opportunities being on the radio, and hopefully with the Awakenings tomorrow as well. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to Kelly.
Fabulous. Yeah, Kelly is an absolute earth angel herself, isn't she? She's an absolute diamond.
She's been pivotal in opening doors for me over the last couple of weeks, so thank you, Kelly.
Amazing. Right, I wish we could have another hour. I really could, Patrick, because Patrick, I could listen to you all day. It's just so fascinating. Hopefully Patrick will have his own show, but we'll have him on here anyway again.